Howdy, folks. It's Dr. Flo and Tara Priolo back again with another edition of the Love in Action Deconstruction Junction podcast. I am surrendering to the infinite today. I'm allowing myself to stand in gratitude and to move from the space of abundance. And we are going to abundantly share with you over the next 45 minutes or so what is coming out in the news and the messages that are being broadcast around the world and our reflections on what it means to be loved and lovable and to have a position on radical inclusion, acceptance, and the empowerment and uplifting of people. And so we invite you on this journey with us as we explore several themes. If you are new to the work that we do here, the people call me Flo. I am a global encourager and I uplift people in marketing and business development, professional services, in creative areas. I coach acting and vocal performance and bring clarity to the confidence that people need as they rise in love and put the manifestations of their creativity into the world. If you're interested in learning more about the work that I do, you can go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. And the wonderful human being sitting on screen with me with a sticker on her nose is none other than the wonderful Tara Priolo. I will give her the opportunity and the floor now to introduce herself to you, along with the baby, before we move through
Toddler
today's
fits are so cute, y'all.
proceedings.
I am a mom that gets decorated daily with stickers. My husband will be home soonish, so we will have a distraction for the child. But right now, I am the distraction. So, I am Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black biracial, multi-passionate musician. I am a voice facilitator in all versions of the voice. I make the intangible tangible by helping you remove the entanglements that you placed upon that voice that I just talked about. Piper. Okay. Then I'm going to get up and go away because that's mean. Teaching your toddler boundaries is a thing. Anyway, I love coming here each week, although we sometimes skip a week here and there. It doesn't mean that there's not things happening in the world, and it doesn't mean that there aren't people deconstructing and decolonizing in their own personal experiences. And if you have an experience that you're like, I want to share this experience, or I want to talk about this experience, you can come be the Your Name Here ? And with your little Bitmoji and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I know we have a couple newer folks to the network that are going to be coming onto the podcast, not necessarily this show, but if you do want to be on this show or you have a story to tell that's separate, then you are more than welcome to reach out to either Dr. Flo or I, wherever you may find us. Instagram or the website is probably best. lovedandlovable.bio.linkypoop. Yes.
Great work, and we're always thrilled to have Tara sharing her thoughts and opining with us on the web. The reason why we are here is because we want to go down in history as people who didn't keep our opinions in the private sanctum alone. We were not folks who were whispering about the need for ceasefire or whispering about the news or keeping our support of artists and creatives globally quiet. We were showing up and being seen and standing for something. And so this podcast is a reflection of that. And as Tara plays a game of whack-a-mole with her toddler in the house, although someone did tell me this week, one of the new clients and participants told me that the reason why they decided to come into Love and Action Network was because they came onto the YouTube, saw the podcast, and heard the child wreaking pandemonium in the background. And was like, these people are open enough and free enough to get online and have their baby screaming in the background and talking their shit.
That
And so,
person, thank you, because sometimes I feel very self-conscious about it. And if you're a mom
no,
or a parent, if you're a mom or a parent, you know the feeling of like going into the store and your child just like has been an angel all day and then just starts screeching in the middle of the store. And like, I think we need to make a more kid-friendly society because we have a lot of people that are pro-life, but like pro-life to them means that the child is in the house with the mom all day long and you never see the light of day. And yeah, so thank you to that person because like I said, I do feel self-conscious. I do feel it's definitely something I'm working through. Like I've noticed that the last couple days, like I've wanted to make reels, but haven't made reels because Piper's screaming in the background. So I'm glad it attracted you, and I look forward to knowing who that person was. Which
they told
Flo
me
does
straight
not
up.
share.
They told me straight up. I came into the podcast. I saw you all talking and chatting casually. I heard the kids screaming, and I thought that this was a place where I could relax and be myself. And I said, that's exactly what we've worked towards. Tara and I come from professional performance backgrounds, so having a screaming kid on stage and things like that is not something that we are naturally accustomed to, and things that our type A personalities don't really enjoy. But part of being in the flow of your life is allowing life to happen exactly as it's happening. And we talk daily, privately and publicly about radical acceptance. If you cannot accept your life as it is right now, and if you can't accept who you are right now as you are, with the opportunity for growth and expansion, you might struggle. And we don't want to struggle on this podcast or any other areas of our lives. And as I teach in my coaching practice, how you are in one area of your life will determine how you are in all areas of your life. So being in the flow is mission critical and essential to our positive growth and development. All right, Tara, your first slide today. So without further ado, it's on you.
I am. And pardon y'all, I thought I knew where the sunglasses were, but I don't. So, we have covered things like this before. I do have a follow-up, like a final question, but anyway, I just saw this information popping up on my feed probably 2 days ago. Yeah, it was probably literally 2 days ago. But the Alabama governor, Kay Ivey, commuted the death sentence of Sonny Burton. The state was set to execute Sonny for a crime he didn't commit, but tens of thousands of people nationwide demanded justice, and our voices were heard. And that is from the ACLU and Piper No. And yeah, so one of these things is like this guy, this Sonny Burton, he has been in jail for a long time, like a while, and we've seen this like over the last couple years. I feel like there's been a lot of cases where we're waiting until the last minute to try to get these people out of jail instead of simply Piper, that's enough, instead of like trying to use the system to get them out much earlier. And so then we get into the situation where it's like 2 days before their executions, or like a Charles McNair situation, who you all know we used to talk about a lot on this podcast, who's been sitting in jail for 42 years, right? While the last minute pressure, Piper Pacole, I didn't do anything. You need to take a nice deep breath. Thank you so much. Okay. Charles McNair. Oh, and the last minute pressure. It seems to work, but like it leads me back right into that space of like, why are we being reactionary instead of proactive? You know? And I just like, did this person who has said he was innocent all of his life, all the time he's been in jail, like no one was going to help back in the day, you know? So I'm happy. I believe this is a Black man. Yeah. Death sentence. Yeah. He's like a 75-year-old dude that spent most of his life in jail. Even though the gunman's sentence had been commuted years ago. But once again, like this person was in jail for a very long time, stating his innocence. His innocence had been proved, and yet it was still 2 days before his execution that there was public reaction to it. And I just really think like it's a demonstration that our judicial system does not in fact work, right? Like we've got a bunch of innocent people sitting in jail, and a bunch of people that are proven innocent later, and a bunch of people on death row, which just leads us to the question of, do we want this situation to continue? Do we want to change the way that the judicial system works? Hello, Suze. And can we be better? Can we make it better? Hi, boo boo. So anyway, yeah, I'm frustrated by the last minute effect, and I'm also like, clearly our judicial system and our prosecution system convicts a bunch of innocent people because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation, religion, etc. So yeah.
That's wild. The stories are saying that his accomplice fired the fatal shot that he's been in jail for and got the death penalty for the whole time.
Yeah, and it seems like they knew that for like a number of years, but he was still on death row. Like, I don't.
Yeah, she said, I believe it would be unjust for one participant in this crime to be executed while the participant who pulled the trigger was not. To be clear, Mr. Burden will not be eligible for parole and will rightfully spend the remainder of his life behind bars for the role in the robbery that led to the murder of Doug Battle. He will now receive the same punishment as a triggerman. But this is wild to me as well, because like the prison industrial complex is one where that warm body sitting there is more valuable to them than the person being unalived under their watch. They'll get more money from the state from that gentleman sitting there. It's complicated times out here in these streets. All right, moving on. I'm going to take a little moment to talk about this story that came out in USA Today. Apparently, a Target boycott is ending with no concessions to DEI rollbacks. And Jamal Bryant, the pastor of a very prominent megachurch congregation in Atlanta, shared it. Uppity Negress said 6 minutes ago, nigga, you are not MLK, Jesse Jackson, or Al Sharpton. You don't lead shit but your congregation, and those qualifications are also shaky. Fuck out of here. People are not doing well online hearing about the Target boycott going away. Even though we were talking privately about it earlier, I don't see where the Target boycott directly or indirectly affected any part of my assigned Black at Work life.
Right. And like, so Target lost billions and billions of dollars. Did you receive those billions and billions of dollars? I didn't. I certainly don't feel any more rich than I did last year when the boycott started. And also, like, there's this whole side note going on, y'all, that like Jamal Bryant apparently, like, he was not involved in the starting of the Target boycott. And now the activists that actually were like, well, you know, Star Tribune released this article, which is the local, like, biggest newspaper here. Star Tribune released this article, but they didn't talk to us. And I'm like, this is the type of infighting that people get frustrated with on both sides. Like, I need y'all to also just realize that, like, your boycotting is not working because we don't have community infrastructure to replace it. Like that, and that is the thing. And I understand that a lot of the activists that like are pushing for the boycotts are also pushing for mutual aid and community care. However, they might be pushing for it, but they're not actually building it. And this is a situation where like we have to build it, folks. We can't just keep talking about it. We can't just keep dreaming about it. We actually have to get in the trenches and build the thing, right? And not wait for support of the thing, but build the thing. So like this whole thing is amusing to me. And what's even more amusing to me is that there are people, like primarily white people on my feed, who like are liking the Star Tribune post that have been shaming others for not boycotting Target for the last year, because I know they're itching to go back to Target. Like, I just know. And the whole thing is comical to me. The whole thing.
We will police everybody but the actual elites in power who are doing the true harm.
That part. We'll replace a whole CEO and call it progress.
Also wanted to talk a bit about the gentleman at mention The Life of Kay, who said, I was just writing jokes on Threads, and 48 hours later, we're working on the trademark. Substack is up, and I've seen at least 6 copycats pop up. But if y'all are rocking with it, we'll keep it going. Should we go twice a week? Special Friday edition of the Negro newsletter. Tara dropped this to me behind the scenes over on Instagram, and I found it to be quite an amusing thread of posts that he put together. I love the idea that an idea happened earlier in the week on this platform, and now it's turning into a whole business for this gentleman. I just wanted to talk about it briefly, to talk about how quickly things can change in your life. Like you talked about earlier, if you just go with the idea and choose to execute the dream, as opposed to him and haw about it or go back and forth about it, it can really turn into a lucrative opportunity. And people were recommending that he go on Substack because he can get paid subscribers there. And people were saying, where's the GoFundMe to help you get your trademark? And how do we raise money to help this become a real thing for us? We really enjoy your work. And of course, it's great that you were one of his threads below this new concept. He advertised his comedy shows. People are completely, they want you to tell them what you're doing, and they will give you the space to do it without it being slimy if you're offering something that is entertaining, amusing, and a benefit to the collective. What attracted you so much to the post that you sent it over in back channels?
I saw it, and like, actually, I'm loving that Threads has caught up to me, because I love the thread posts that are like 25 threads long, right? Like it's like a miniature book. And you can, sometimes they're like horror stories, and sometimes it's like I killed my husband, and sometimes it's Negro newsletter. And this morning I found one that was like all about, it was like this dude. Y'all can go to my feed because I shared a whole bunch of it. But like, it was, he just posted, he was like, I am a Palestinian, and I also think Jewish people are awesome. And then the whole thread, it was like 15 threads of, and I believe this, and I think this, and I think that, and I think that, which ended with, I don't like bananas because of their texture. I have ADHD, and now I'm bored with this, so I'm going to leave. And I love that. Like,
humans being human.
That is the internet. And like, what I loved so much about it was like, it was this nuanced dichotomy of beliefs. It wasn't like, I'm on the left, so therefore I believe all of this. I'm on the right, so therefore I believe all of this. It was like, I am Palestinian, and I think Jewish people are mostly cool. I think that, the occupation is wrong, and I think that October 7th was wrong. Like, and it was just like a thread all over that. So anyway, I liked it first of all because it was a long thread. But then I also like, one of the things that I find in the Black community, as well as like the music community, the arts community, is that we don't, like, yes, we have Don Lemon, yes, we have Joyanne Reid, yes, we have some of these like independent news sources, but we don't really have like an Aaron Parnas that's like threading all of the time, right?
Right.
Like we don't have a person like that, or at least I haven't been able to find that. That I could be speaking out the side of my mouth, and I'm so sorry if I don't know who you are. And if anybody wants to come in for me, please come in for me. Okay. But I thought this was such an excellent idea because it contains both like literally what's happening, like the war in Iran, and then like blackety black shit, like
and the levity. It had levity to it. It wasn't.
Yes.
It was informative, but it also was not heavy.
Right. And it wasn't so like, I think one of my problems, I have a lot of problems with Aaron Parnas, but every broken clock is right twice a day. Okay. But like one of my problems with Aaron Parnas is all of his stuff is breaking news. Right. And there's a bunch of people that have emulated that where they're like breaking, update, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I would like to remain in the center of my nervous system. Thank you so much. I do not need breaking news, but I do need the news. Right. And as Sharon says, so she said the other day, she said, consumption is not the same, or not consumption. Being consumed is not the same thing as being informed, which is true, right? And I feel like if you follow people like Aaron Parnas too closely, you get consumed versus being informed. And I think that's why I ended up sharing the Negro newsletter, was because I was like, oh, actually, this is informative information. It's not too much to hold. It doesn't feel like I'm drowning. Loved it. Right. And I love for him that he's, going the distance and creating a newsletter, because I think that, one of the things that I've learned from you over the years and your quest to have your own TV show, is that like, it does just take that little bit of imagination, and anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be Don Lemon. We don't have to wait for Joy, like we don't have to wait for these people to take the step. We can take it today because we have access to the same technology that they do. In fact, Don, I think, has been streaming on Restream since he's become an independent journalist. Like it's not, which is what we're using, by the way, audience.
Same stuff we're doing. Yep.
Yeah. So like, I mean, and so it reduces they are rich and they are other, and we can never achieve, to leveling the playing field a little bit more. And hey, Angela, I see you out there.
Oh, wow.
Angela was cheering for Piper Diaper.
Oh my gosh. Just yelling at one point, and now not anymore. It's so interesting.
Right.
Speaking of babies.
Oh, did this get moved up?
War.
Next page. I think there's a slide. This is the update on the US. I don't think anybody's calling it a genocide yet, but it's like the US Israeli genocide of the Swana countries is really what's happening. But anyway, so speaking of Aaron Parnas, when I was making this morning, this was the major news that had dropped. CBS has confirmed that the Trump administration concealed the true extent of Iran's strikes on a base in Kuwait. Dozens of service members suffered severe injuries and 30 remain in the hospital. The New York Times confirmed that a U.S. military investigation found the U.S. at fault for the strike on the all-girls elementary school in Minab, Iran, which is what started this whole thing. I feel like I heard about that like days ago, but it's being heavily reported today by the Times, CNN, all the majors, that the U.S. is responsible for that. Initial reports were like, some people were saying U.S., some people were saying Israel, but it was definitely the U.S., which like, duh. The other thing that happened over the last week, and this person, Ariana Jasmine, is a new follow for me, but she is Iranian. I believe she lives here, but she's Iranian. So if y'all want an Iranian person to follow, I would recommend Ariana. Anyway, so Izzy / the US bombed an oil refinery in Tehran. And it was bad. So this is what Ariana says about that. I don't think you understand how catastrophic the oil refinery bombing in Tehran is. Burning petroleum releases sulfur and nitrogen oxides that mix with the rain to form sulfuric and nitric acid, essentially turning rainfall toxic. When Saddam burned Kuwaiti oil wells in 1991, that's the year I was born, by the way, the fallout contributed to what became known as Gulf War syndrome, with veterans developing chronic illness and cancer decades later. This isn't a desert battlefield, it's a city of 10 million people. So yeah, fighting continues. There's been rumors that ground war is going to start. There have been gas prices continue to rise. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Iran has threatened to basically bomb any ships within the strait, as well as Trump being like, we're going to take over the strait. Izzy is currently attacking Lebanon and basically doing the playbook that they did in Gaza and telling all of the Lebanese to move certain places and then bombing those places. Yeah, so I mean, it's a big old mess, and Trump is trying to, like, I think he's trying to roll it back because, like, nobody is for this, but he doesn't know how. Like, and it doesn't seem like anybody, like Hegseth and Trumpykins and like all them people, don't seem to know what the goal is, right? Like regime change, no, that's not the goal. Having control over the oil doesn't seem to be the goal. Like, so nobody really knows the goal or how it ends. And that is the last thing that I should say is that the dude that got killed on the first day of this, the supreme leader, has been replaced by the supreme leader's son. Yeah, so definitely.
Well, I heard we killed his whole family, so he's on a super vengeful path.
Yeah, I mean, people said that he's more hardline than his dad, and I'm sure that us killing his family really made him want to negotiate with the United States and Israel. I'm sure that's how that goes through the brain. But that is the update on the Iranian war.
I think one of the most telling pieces of this whole share is the toxic rain.
Yeah, it's bad.
And the cancer-causing rain. Like, people who are inflicted in their bodies will have very, very long memories, to your point.
Right. Same way like the Palestinians. Like, do y'all think that the Palestinians being under occupation for the last 40 some years, like, you don't think that that's creates terrorist groups? You don't think that that creates this like absolute hate of Israel and the United States and the Western world? I mean, what logical conclusion other than that is there? And so then you're just almost guaranteeing more war later on, because the only culmination of capitalism and colonialism is war, is violence. And we just keep recycling the cycle.
Well, onward to threads we go. Christnedae, CHRISTNEDAAE, says, in light of certain people proclaiming that opera is a dying art, for anyone who's trained classically, what's your voice type and what are your favorite arias to sing? She says, I'm a lyric soprano. Mine are the Jewel song from Faust and Je veux vivre from Romeo.
Je veux vivre. Bum, bum. Y'all have heard it. You just don't know that you've heard it.
She says, I don't know why, but Gunud and I get along very well. You then respond and say, never really loved identifying into a fuck, but sing almost exclusively black music these days. "'Tis Sunset in the Garden" by William Grant Still is a fave. I'm not sure if there are any other slides in this deck. I think there is one about this. So we'll come back.
Yeah,
we'll come back to that. And
"'Tis Sunset." What's that? What is that? AI Jesus or something?
Yes! Oh no, Jesus!
AI Jesus.
Oh no, Jesus!
oh wow, this is what we got going on. And one more here.
Okay, first of all, Angela in the comment section says Jesus times 3, and then says Flo, if you don't grab the mic. And that, for those of you listening on an audio platform, what had happened was the lady was singing, okay, and we was all trying to get behind the lady, okay, and it just was not. That was not an A tier, okay. Loved and Lovable. It wasn't on an A level, okay. And this woman at the end comes and gets the microphone and just says, "Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're done." And it says next song. Oh my Lord. All right. So jumping back to the opera drama of the artist known as Timothy Chalamet.
Which, like, I'm going to say two things that are a dichotomy. Number one, I am really enjoying that people are talking about opera and ballet and classical stuff online, because, like, it is cool, right? And, like, we're talking about music. I saw this other person, I don't know if it was lady. I'm calling them a lady because it has lady energy, but that don't mean they're a lady. I saw them, like, they've been posting, they're like, I'm going to learn something new every day in March. And so they give you like tell me something interesting about blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. And people in the thread are like saying interesting stuff. And so there's a lot of conversations online about opera and ballet at the moment, and lots of conversation about who are the Black ballet dancers and the Black opera singers and the Black operas. And I'm like, I know this one, blackening the canon. Anyway, so I love that. But I also, opera singers and ballet folks, as I said on my threads yesterday, the reason you are so ticked off, okay, is A, because you're insecure as fuck. B, because your teachers done told you that your technique was enough to make people care. And it's not. It's not. It is just not. Anyway, so Timothy Chalamet, who I still don't know who this man is. I have looked him up on IMDb, whatever the hell that site is. I ain't never seen. I don't know who he is, but he's somebody famous. He went and talked to Matthew McConaughey, who's kind of a right-wing crazy dude at this point. But he used to be real cute. I also think that of the archetypes, I think that Timothée Chalamet looks like a rat. He's got a rat type face, you know? It's very scrunched. But anyway, so he was talking to Matthew McConaughey and he was like kind of blabbering. And then all of a sudden he was like, I would never do ballet or opera. Like, I don't want to be in a field that nobody cares about. And like the whole of the classical industry was like, oh my God, how fucking dare you? We hate you so much. You're the worst person on the face of the planet. People care about us. We're relevant. So that's what had happened. I kept my eye roll from last week about the BAFTAs because I really like, y'all, we're as relevant as we make ourselves. And also like, there's a lot of people that are refusing to come to terms with the fact that like, we do have to change the way the industry works for the industry to survive. And there have been people talking about that for 100 years. There's just a lot of people that refuse to look at the industry, that side of the industry. And so Timothée Chalamet, I think, gave us an opportunity of a really famous person saying that they don't care, you know, and no one cares about us, and to give an opportunity for us to talk about our projects. And I've seen a lot of people that have never posted about their projects posting about their projects. And I think that's great. I just really do. Like, I think that a lot of us don't talk about our projects. And of course, no one can care about a project that they don't know anything about.
When do you think we decided as a society that other people needed to be passionate about the same things that we're passionate about?
When we started following the cult of religion, the cult of
Capitalism.
politics, the cult of capitalism, the cult of colonialization, the cult of white supremacy, the cult, like, because we've been in these cult mindsets, like what ticks people off, right? And what deters them from community, I think, is because they have a different definition of community. And as we talk about on this show all the time, a movement is people moving in the same direction but thinking differently. A cult is people moving in the same direction and thinking the same. And there's a requirement, especially in the classical industry, for you to conform to the one thought idea, the one path idea, right? And that is a cult. That's a cult. And so, and we're inundated with cult propaganda and cult mindset. Like, even so much, like you were talking about Mel Robbins this morning, and you were like, is this why you don't like her? No, I don't like her because she's building a cult. So is Tony Robbins. So are all of these people that are requiring you to agree with them 100%, right? And they call it community, but it's not community. It's a cult, because you're not.
It's compliance,
right? You're not allowed to get out of it. Yeah, like, and that's why, like, you know, part of the reason that I resist kind of the being an online coach, or being a life coach, or being a mindset coach, or going bigger, is because of that, like the want of a cult leader. And I just don't want to be a cult leader, right? So I think that, yeah, sure. Is it a little bit disappointing when you hear like nobody cares about that? Sure, except that, like, you know, it's true. Like, the things that hurt the most are the things that have some truth to them. They're a thought that you've already had, right?
Yeah. Oh, the deeper question that came up for me is everyone who's yelling in outrage into the internet about how much they do care about ballet and opera. Where was that care before this famous guy?
Right. Again, back to the reactionary proactive thing. Like, we are being so reactive to this comment when for the last 100 years, we could have just been posting about our ish. And I'm calling myself out on that too, because I don't really talk about my projects. Y'all know, like, if you go to my social media, there's a whole lot of like, here's what's happening with ICE, and there's not a whole lot of Here's what I teach. Here's what I do. Here's my I Dream a World project. Here's my XYZ. Right? I think the same is true for a lot of the artists that we've been coming across in the AABA Adopt a Black Artist program. And a lot of the people that we've come across over the years that are creatives, right? They'll come into a clubhouse room and they say they're a creative, but you go to the rest of their social media and they never talked about a project a day in their life. You go to a company's page, right? And in between projects, they're completely dormant. Right? So if you care so deeply, if you are so passionate about whatever you are doing, whatever field you are in, it's not reflected when you stop talking about the thing or you never talk about the thing. We cannot know your passion unless you open your mouth. We can't. But the opera industry in particular tells you to close your mouth. Right? Tells you to conform to the cult-like structure of the Fox system. Tells you that you won't get a job if you're too vocal about certain things. Tells you won't get a job if you don't sing the 5 standard arias. Right?
We are responsible for sharing our joy and passions with the world.
Yeah, and that's the reason that people are so mad again is it's that inner reflection. It's that part of you that you're like, "Oh, I haven't shared about my projects. Ooh, that made me feel yucky. No one cares about me because I haven't shared." And you feel a little yucky about it, so you want to get mad and blame Timothy and the world for not caring about you. But the world can't care about you if they don't know about you.
Closed mouths certainly do not get fed. We're heading back over to Threads for a wee bit. This poor lady's still up here putting on her robe and telling the story. Oh my gosh. Rachel Maddow, paraphrased here in this video, says he's not going to last forever because he's literally rotting from the inside out right before our eyes. Crescent's Peak goes on to say, but honestly, in this instance, what she actually says is so much better. Definitely worth the listen. Dragged his decrepit, evil ass. All right, let's give it a listen.
I don't think we have any audio. I'm not hearing any audio. Yeah, we got nothing.
Are we getting audio?
No, I don't hear any audio. Dang it.
On Threads, they say the way Adele works for 6 months and then disappears for 7 years is very much the work-life balance I'm all about. How do you feel about Adele?
I mean, she can have that work-life balance because she has a really great team that talks about the stuff that she's doing. You know? Like back to the previous point. But I mean, I don't really have an opinion. I think, I think all art that gets out there has an option to be celebrated. She's not my favorite. She's not my least favorite. I will say that like her music when sung by my students is actually really fun to work on. So I guess that's what I would say about Adele. I don't really care for her versions, but I do like working on her music.
Very nice. Everyone, be honest. Has someone ever hurt you to the extent that it changed you as a person? Star Rock, ROCQUE, who I follow here on platform. She's a New Yorker, a random New Yorker that I follow. Says, yes, I have a few incidents, actually, sadly. So do I. There are a couple things that have happened to me where I, like, after experiencing that level of betrayal or having fear induced by the interaction with that person, it kind of changed my whole view on humans. I can't say that it's stopped me from wanting to move forward with my life and to have brighter, better days. But it's enough to make me take pause with the new people that I meet. Do you have any incidents or instances like that that come to mind for you as well?
I mean, I think we all do. And I think, like, unfortunately, we're in a society where we often let our pain change us rather than our joy, right? Um, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I think we can allow both, but yeah, definitely there, I guess I think about, like, in addition to my personal experience, I think about the things that my students come and tell me that, like, someone told them, and, like, they're like a 60-year-old student and they've hung on to all their life, and, like, that pain stopped them from singing. I had a 16-year-old student once. She was with me for years. She went off to college and she took lessons in the summer. She was great. But she said that her mom had told her she sounded like a cow. And, like, that was something that she carried with her. And so she was always, like, careful with her voice. And it took years of unwinding that and unwinding the pain that went along with that. And so and it's very prevalent in
Cows don't
the,
even sing, though.
I know, but that's what her mom said. So, and when you're at a young age and you get told that stuff, or you get told, like, even so much as, like, you can't do this, like, it's something that you really want to do and someone's like, you can't do it, or they don't admit you or whatever, like, of course that stuff will change you. Of course it will.
One more I think I saw on the feed. Once again, another breaking, the FBI warned police departments in California in recent days that Iran could retaliate for American attacks by launching drones at the West Coast.
That's fun.
Not that we want to bet against the House. Do you think that eventually we're going to be targeted for the things that we have done and the harm we've caused? Or do you think it's going to come through at the pump?
Well, I think it's definitely coming through at the pump already. I mean, Ross filled up his tank, I think 2 days ago, when it was $40 versus the 32 that it was, last week. But I think, here's what I think. I'm going to compare America to Tom Brady. So just buckle up, folks. The reason that Tom Brady won all the Super Bowls he won is because defenses in the NFL were scared to tackle him. Because basically, if you put a finger on Tom Brady, you got fined. Okay? America is the same.
Like, this was a known thing in the whole NFL that if you touched him, you were going to get fined.
I mean, it's like a conspiracy, but you would see, like, defenses that were amazing all year long go play Tom Brady and just, like, never sack the quarterback. Like, they would just never touch him. And it was wild. And I know some of y'all out there are like, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Have y'all seen Patrick Mahomes? You just want to hate Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is black. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Anyway, America, okay, is the same way. Have you noticed that since 1940 something, whenever Pearl Harbor happened, I think that was 1945. 45. I think Pearl Harbor was 1945. I believe that is the last time, and also one of the first times, that America was struck by a foreign power.
1941.
So 4 years off.
I had to fact check it, not because I wanted to fact check you, but because I just wanted to not hear it. I don't want to hear it later.
Thank you. So 1941. Okay. So that's 60, 80, 84 years ago since America has been attacked on our soil. Right. if you count 9/11, fine, I guess you can count 9/11. But if from a foreign power government, okay, Japan attacked the US. Yeah. And that's the last time that has happened. Because while countries talk a big game, America is Tom Brady. They have great defenses, right? They go to war, but Ukraine and Russia go to war. France goes to war with people, right? But they look at America and all of a sudden they done forgot how to do the defense. Okay? They done forgot how to play the game. And so I don't think that at home we are necessarily at risk. And I say that even more so because, like, as a millennial, as a 34-year-old, I feel like I've been hearing about Korea and Iran and Russia, like all of these years, about how they're going to strike America, and it never happened. We've been at war, not official war because Congress hasn't declared war, but we've been at war literally our entire lives. Like I need y'all to know that we've been handling a conflict somewhere in the world that has nuclear power or has the potential to have nuclear power our entire lives, and it has never happened. As much as the government has told us that is going to happen, as much as they propagandize us to say, you better be careful, you can't go to Korea, you can't go to Vietnam, you can't go this place, you can't go that place, you can't go to Iran, you can't go to Egypt, you can't go, because it's never happened. Now, the Americans that are abroad, I think, are certainly at risk, right? I mean, we saw an attack outside of the U.S. embassy in Norway, in Oslo. So I do think that is a risk. Do I think that it's likely that a country like Iran, who has had their missile systems pretty much demolished in the last 2 weeks, as well as their nuclear program essentially dismantled over the last 20 years to strike us? I don't play war, but just looking at the things that we know, I don't think it's a thing. I think that's again, I just think it's propaganda from the US. It's trying to make us scared so that we stop fighting against what they're trying to do.
And it gives organized media something to talk about.
Right. It reinforces the capitalism cycle of it.
And while we're talking about that, we're not talking about the elites that harm children and traffic children.
That part.
Yeah. And it gives all of our munitions, because America is one of the greatest, if not the top exporter of missiles and bullets and weaponry. Like, that is our export. It's not cotton or corn or wheat.
Right.
It's bullets and guns and things to create violence on the planet. Speaking of which, y'all, ceasefire now. It's all I can say. I want to believe in my optimistic heart that the bombs will stop falling and people will come to their senses about how we can have a more peaceful world. The truth is that the true peace exists within you. You are capable in this moment of creating a ceasefire in your heart and a ceasefire in your mind. And it's up to all of us to figure out what that looks like for us. How can you stop dropping bombs mentally upon yourself? How can you stop creating chaos and havoc in your own life? How can you create the conditions of a peaceful return back to the seat of your own soul? And something that we do here in the network daily is try to create a non-triggering space, or the least toxic space possible, so that the network and those in it become a place of refuge that's different than the bombardment that we feel in our phones and in some of our communities. What is the nucleus or what's ground zero for you, Tara, of a space where there's no ceasefire in your personal and professional life?
What is that? Papers? Say that again. So sorry. My child was talking to me at the same time.
It's okay. I was asking about the nucleus and or ground zero of ceasefire in your world, professionally and personally. What are you doing to cultivate that space more and more these days with the recognition? I was saying, with the recognition that we won't be able to stop the bombardment and stop the nonsense happening outside in the world, how can we create space inside of ourselves where that's not happening, or the shrapnel of that happening can lessen?
You know, I think about it today as my entire household was like having it, and I have to say that, like, I was like, I'm just gonna light this candle and I'm gonna put my prayers in my coffee, and I am going to take, this 5 seconds to myself, and I'm gonna poop and scroll on my phone a little bit longer while the baby's napping. And just like find a second, right, for some equilibrium. I'm going to try to laugh, right? And like when I can laugh with the kid, and treasure that moment, and try to treasure like when we say sorry to each other, when we give each other hugs, like, and just allowing that to overpower like all of the negative stuff that's happening, right? And then sharing about that, right? Because I think like one of the things, back to the opera stuff, it's just like, how can we help others come to a ceasefire within themselves and their hearts? We can come to a ceasefire in ourselves and show up and talk about it, right? And show up and look it, right? That doesn't mean that we always have to be smiling. It doesn't mean that we always have to be happy-go-lucky, but it does mean that, like, I was vlogging today, even though it was a bad day, and I'm sure that I will craft it later and say today was just not like, I feel the defeat. I felt it this morning, and I'm still here at 4:45, about to teach a couple more lessons and living through it, So yeah, that's what I would say.
Live through it.
Yeah.
I love that. We are living through our programs here in the network. One of them that is vibrant right now is the Adopt a Black Artist program. If you're out there under the sound of our voices on the video platforms or over on our podcast platforms, we invite you to come in closer and to consider the Adopt a Black Artist program. We are encouraging, equipping, and empowering artists all over the planet to do the micro steps towards manifesting their dreams. And if you're interested in being supported in a radical way, and getting the tangibles and deliverables that are necessary in order to manifest what you say you want in your life, that program is there for you. We also offer daily peer support over on TikTok and Instagram Live. This morning, we talked about everything from my aging to the need for protein to toddler poop. And that's how we show up for each other in Radical Community. So if you'd like to have those conversations and be around real people that want to walk each other to the capital H home, you're welcome to get onto my broadcast channel, either the Community Care channel or the Behind the Scenes Dr. Flo channel. Both of those paths will lead you into the daily peer support on the live streams. I typically go live when I'm cooking my breakfast and dinner, as a place to also have a safe place to land in community as I build this. It's not a massive dream that I'm building. It's been done before, but at times, depending on how much or little I've taken care of myself, it can feel massive. And so having community that loves and supports me as I am and wants to see me succeed and wants to give me the attaboys as I want to do for them, that is a gift. And that's happening in the daily peer support spaces over on Instagram and also on TikTok. We also are offering admin and support services to our Adopt a Black artist crew and also to people who come into Love City Arts Creative Services group. If you're out there and you need some extra help with getting the admin portion of your business lifted, business plans, structure and scripting on your podcast or newsletter or outreach programs, or creating a waitlist opportunity or a customer resource management software for you, just reach out and let us know. Also, we've got a bunch of newsletters and Google groups happening right now. Pretty consistent outreach happening in the emails for those of you who are paying attention to that. So tap in and get on those lists if you're interested in hearing from us with consistency. I'm also still working to attract here locally in Savannah, Georgia, musicians and producers and folks who want to create this musical theater independent show that I am launching called Dr. Flo and the Love Experience. It's got a lot of puppets in it as well. And we're almost there. We're almost there. If you're interested in applying or auditioning to support Dr. Flo and the Love Experience, you can go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Tara, what do you have happening over in your corner of the sky?
As far as communications and places that I exist off of Instagram, because sometimes she acts real weird. Meta is like, you know. Anyway, I have the TPS community comments on WhatsApp, which is still Meta, but for whatever reason, it seems to work better than the other platforms. So that is where I am. You can come on in. We got Black Name Canon, Liberation Conversations, a place where I just drop random links of people that I follow. And there will soon come more as soon as I get the balls to do it. I have my newest album, I Dream a World. So speaking of operatic things and classical artistry, that is a place you want to go. I also have a first album, Soliloquy. Those are both found at tarapriolo.bandcamp.com. And I will be starting very soon the I Dream a World archive project, which is going to be your visions of the new world, your visions of what is beyond this moment where we're having to come together and splice the bad and also try to get a little of the good in there, you know? So yeah, that will start soon. I have to make the reel and I have to post it and I have a backlog, but it will come. It will come in all good time.
It will come. All is well. All is well. Everything is working out for our highest good. And out of this situation, the situations we're experiencing in our lives today, only good will come and we are safe. Once again, all is well. All is well. Whether you can see it or not, everything is working out for our highest good. And out of this situation, only good must come. And we are safe. I want to thank you all for watching and tuning in over on YouTube and Twitch Live. Replays will be going out on to Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the places where you source your joy. On behalf of everybody in the network, Popular 33, Tara Priolo, and myself, Ask Dr. Flo, we thank you for watching today. Don't forget to stay in your power, stay in your joy, and to stay loved and lovable. And we cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.